It's not on? Okay. Hi, I am Claire Gosnell and I'm with the Hopeful Housing nonprofit company. I'm proposing to partner with the city to build an affordable housing apartment using a building that is already existing on Main Street. It is a good place for families and people to live because there are schools, grocery stores, pet needs, churches, parks, daycare, restaurants, a hospital, and other essentials nearby. It is easy to travel because there are lots of bus stops close to this site. I propose a 25-unit, 3-story apartment. It will include a mixture of accessible units, 1, 2, and 3-bedroom units. The multiple bedroom units are important because then families can live in them. Affordable housing is a good idea because many people are in need of it, and some people have been waiting for 6 years or over. Housing prices are too high right now, and less wealthy people cannot afford to live in houses in downtown neighborhoods. We want to have a variety of people living in our community. If people have housing they can afford, then they won't need as much support like healthcare or food donations, so that will reduce the city's taxpayer costs. Affordable housing will make Kitchener even better.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Councillor Milankovich?
Are you aware of how much this will cost?
We have a general idea, but we will figure out the details as we go.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Councillor Solanik?
Are they going to be close to like schools that we're in?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Councillor Mason?
How do we obtain this housing? How do we obtain this housing?
You have to have an interview to make sure that you can live there. So.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Vinsky?
What will be the cost if we don't do this?
Will there be playground?
If people have housing they can afford, then they won't need as much support.
Thank you. Councillor Aldoma?
How much will the rents be?
Lower than average.
Thank you. Councillor Kazin?
Will there be playgrounds?
Could you repeat that question, please?
Will there be playgrounds?
There are parks nearby, so there might be playgrounds there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Solamic?
Why build new buildings? Can we like repurpose another old building?
That's what we're doing.
Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Kabila?
Why have you decided on 25 units? Thank you.
It's a good number, and yeah. That's how much the building can fit.
Thank you. Councillor Conkle?
We have such a long list of people. How do we choose who goes first?
The people who make the interview will be there first, and it's just whoever's first in line.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Mason?
Will the residents have money to afford daily needs like foods, water, and clothes?
Yes.
Thank you.
We have one more delegation. Jaden Randaletti?
Is it on? Okay. Hello, Kitchener City Council. Today I'm explaining why I think it's a bad idea to have a homeless shelter in my neighborhood. Some of my concerns are more car traffic flow increases the danger of many kids who play in the neighborhood. The possibility increases drug use due to strangers hanging out in the area. A lot more noise for the area. What changes the landscape would happen due to the building of the housing. Is the neighborhood zone for this type of housing? How will it affect property values? Housing in Kitchener are expensive. Prices have gone up 30% in the last year. If the city decides to use a house, it would be only able to use a few people in it comfortably. If the city could find any empty building, fix it up nicely, and create housing for more people than just one house can hold. Some people might need special support and services. It seems a larger space with more parking would be better than a house in a neighborhood. I think everybody deserves a place to live. Helping people is important. Just because someone doesn't have a home doesn't mean they're bad people. At the very least, I think further studies are needed to consider the impact of the neighborhood. A meeting with the community would be a great way to hear concerns from other people. I hope you consider my concerns before making the final decision. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Randaletti. Any questions for the delegation? Councillor Aldoma?
Why would the people use drugs inside the building?
Could you repeat the question?
Why would people need to do drugs inside the building?
They wouldn't do drugs inside the building, like if they've had bad experiences in the past, then that could lead into further bad things in the future around the area.
Thank you. Councillor Mason?
Who lives in this neighborhood? Like, what are the demographics?
Like, there's a lot of young families living in the area, and we wouldn't want the people who've had bad experiences in the past to come and, ruin possibly the community, maybe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Conkle, sorry.
Thank you. Councillor Conkle?
Have you talked to any of the neighbors?
What further studies do you think need to be done?
Councillor Kasim?
I've talked with a few people around my house personally, and some of them agree.
Thank you. Councillor Kasim?
What further studies needs to be done?
for like traffic and noise possibly around the community.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Salamic.
How would you like us to engage the public, like public meeting or like survey?
Possibly like a public meeting about like who should be allowed in and like some people who should be allowed like not out but like still in a place, just further away from a community where possibly they could hurt people.
Thank you, Councillor Milenkovic.
Where would be a good place for supportive housing?
Somewhere where there are good accesses to places and like hospitals and food stuff.
Thank you, Councillor Vinsky.
Affordable housing helps decrease crime. Isn't that a good thing?
That's why a community meeting would be good.
Thank you, Councillor Hercubala.
If we sent like police cars like every now and then, like a few times a day, would that like be of any help or of use or anything?
Instead of having the police, like, people should, like, talk in the community trying to help and stuff.
Could you please speak up with your answer? Thank you, Councillor Mason.
Who is studying this thing and why? Like, because there could be some companies that are unreliable.
Possibly some city staff. Possibly some city staff.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kassim.
Why don't they just have security inside and outside the building? Wouldn't that fix the problem?
May you please repeat the question?
Why don't they have security inside or outside the building? Wouldn't that fix the problem?
I think it would be a better idea if there was no problems at all, and like instead of having like people in the building at all times, they should just, instead of having further panic, I think that it should just be with the staff, like I said before.
Thank you.
Thank you. Last question, Councillor Conkle.
What would happen to the need of affordable housing?
That's where I'm all for affordable housing. It just needs to be done right, that's all.
Councillor Carter, are you now moving your motion?
Councillor Carter, are you now moving your motion?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The reason I am proposing this motion is I feel the city can be more involved in providing affordable housing. There is a huge demand for affordable housing in our community and 123 Main Street can at least help the city move forward with this issue. In the future, I hope the federal government can provide additional funding to reduce this concern. I ask that all of the council support this and do the right thing.
Thank you. Now, before we take any more comments, do we have a seconder? Councillor Milenkovic?
I agree with the motion because people need housing and they also need a chance to start a new life. It's a good location because we are using an existing building too.
Any other comments? Councillor Vinsky?
In my opinion, I think there should be residential housing for homeless. My first reason for supporting this project is because living in a neighborhood and being surrounded by positive people will give them a better chance of being successful. When someone feels part of a community, they tend to care more about life. Another reason I support this idea is having a home for me provides protection, safety, warmth, confidence, happiness, and a sense of belonging, and I feel everyone deserves that.
Thank you. Councillor Salomic?
Hello, I'm on the side does not want houses in our residential neighborhood to use for people at risk of becoming homeless in our community. I don't want to say that the people who are without a home are criminals, but people living there might be worried about people committing crimes in their neighborhood. They might be worried that it isn't a safe place to live, that would make the houses around it worth less money for people who want to move away. We should make sure it is near busing or even special busing that could take the people living there where they need to go. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Aldoma?
If you start speaking, just read your statement.
I agree that we should turn the residential home into supportive housing for the homeless because homeless people shouldn't be able to live outside any longer, but they should be treated better and will not suffer in hunger and thirst for long periods of time. So in addition, it will bring us closer together as a community and will make us accept the new faces that will be introduced to.
Thank you. Councillor Bemick?
Aesop once said, "No act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted," which is why we should hand over the home to the homeless and hurting. We can greatly improve the life of others around us, so we should find a home for those in need. I don't see why we can't help the lives of others around us to make a safer, happier community. We need to make a difference, and this is a start. Keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, this is one home in one Kitchener neighborhood, and this is a small-scale development that will make a difference in the lives of those in our community who struggle the most. Surely you can understand the great need we have to prevent homelessness in our great city. This housing project will do just that. It will provide shelter for those in need will provide shelter for those and sense of community for those who need it the most. For those of you who are against this development, consider this. You're likely concerned about how this impacts you and not considering the positive impacts this has on others. Let's make a difference other cities can look up to. We need diversity in our neighborhoods, and this will show that we're willing to help those who are in need of some help. Some of these families at risk have children. Think if you and your child were about to lose your home, you would be scared. According to the Housing Stability Data Summary of 2016, supportive housing capacity has decreased by 3% since 2015. Yet the supportive housing waiting list has increased by 13%. That means that we have more people than ever in need of our help by providing supportive housing.
Thank you. Councillor Casson.
I agree with Councillor Carter and support this following motion.
Are there any more comments? Councillor Conkle.
The neighborhood concerns may need to be heard, but I think this is a case of not in my backyard. I propose that throughout the project's development, we could have regular community meetings so everyone gets to know each other.
Thank you. Councillor Mason.
I agree with this. I support this following, and I would like to use the building for near homeless people. And I have many reasons why we should use this building. One of the reasons is the people who are in the house, even though the housing rates are increased, could probably afford a new one if you can afford a house right now. And if I was one of the neighbors, I wouldn't mind the noise because I would know it would be for a good cause and that they were actually getting a life and they would be excited because they have a life now. And it would be a good chance to meet new neighbors and socialize because everyone likes to socialize. And you may be thinking, what if this house is too small? When you think about it, we're lucky to even have a house. So it wouldn't really matter if you had a small house or a big house. It's a house, and houses are nice.
Thank you. Councillor Kubila.
I really do agree with most of people that have talked so far. I believe that we should transform this existing building into something that would help the lives of other people. Because we'd just be helping other people if we do this and everything. And I also believe that their safety and security, especially during the colder months in the year, is more important than my own worry for security and shelter, since I already have shelter and everything. So, yeah.
Thank you. Any last comments? It seems as though the councillors have made their points and have shared their comments. Now it is time for me to make my own. I have talked with a community service worker who has volunteered at places where they aid people who are nearly or already are homeless. Being in this position, she strongly believes in this topic, and so do I. We need to avoid patchwork cities, a city where some communities are very rich and some very poor. Mixed communities will give low-income people access to opportunities such as good schools, affordable food, and parks. Opportunities for poor kids will stop them from becoming poor parents, and the cycle of poverty can stop. Studies have shown that supportive housing does not make property values go down and crime rates go up. Instead, supportive housing helps homeless families in many ways, gives them a roof over their heads so they don't have to worry about where they're going to sleep that night. They can focus on other things, such as helping their kids with homework and taking care of their health. Isn't that what we want for the people of Kitchener? Thank you to our delegates. We will now do the vote. Does anyone call for a recorded vote? Councillor Salamic? Yes. Councillor Salamic has asked for a recorded vote.
I'm asking for a recorded vote.
All those in favor, please stand. All those opposed? One opposed, that's carried. Before the meeting is adjourned, may I ask the previous mayor to say a few words?
Well, thank you very Well, thank you very much, Your Worship, Branya, and just wanted to take this opportunity on behalf of Council and for those in the viewing audience to thank all of the parents who are here this evening supporting their student municipal leaders and delegations. Also wanted to acknowledge one of the teachers who's here this evening, Jeff Whitmer from Southridge. And we had students here tonight from W.T. Townsend, from Southridge, from King Edward, from Meadow Lane, and from Howard Robertson. Oh, and also St. Daniel's, thank you. And so want to thank the teachers in each of those schools for their participation. Finally, wanted to thank Amy Carroll D. and the staff in the Office of the Mayor and Council for all of their support with this particular initiative. They divide up the different projects over the course of the year, and Amy has been involved in this one, as well as councillors Fernandez, Schneider, and Marsh have been very engaged in this particular project. So wanted to thank them as well. And obviously our staff from the Clerk's Department and our CAO and DCAO who participated in this as well. Sorry? Oh, and hold on, I'm getting there. Also, this wouldn't be possible without our local community newspaper, the Kitchener Citizen, who is an important part of this. And both Helen and Carrie are here, and they are obviously the first part of the contest. We started this probably, about 4 or 5 years ago now? About 4 years ago now, with an idea that came from previously from Councillor Dan Glenn Graham, and the idea has evolved over the years, and we get more and more schools participating in terms of entering into the contest, and then the students that are here tonight were selected based on their the articles that they wrote about what their ideal city would look like for the city of Kitchener. And so a heartfelt thank you to both Carrie and Helen, who saw wisdom in the idea a few years ago and not only supported it that year, but have continued to support it for the past 4 years. So thank you very much from the four of you as well. And finally, a thank you to Rogers Television, who does cover this for us and allows folks to go back home and share it with family and friends, and you all get to see the kinds of stars that you were. And so now, Madame Mayor, I'll turn it back to you so you can ask for a motion to adjourn.
Are there any motions to adjourn?
Councillor Beamick.
Councillor Beamick.
Seconder.
Seconder. Councillor Carter.
All those in favor?
All those in favor?
Opposed?
Opposed?
That's carried unanimously.
That's carried unanimously. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you, boys and girls and ladies and gentlemen, and you can now hang out with us for a little bit until we get ready for the council meeting, which will start at 7. As I indicated at the start of the council meeting, we'll be inviting each of you up and your respective councils. Actually, folks, just to make it go quicker later, we'll do the pictures now, and then we'll present all the plaques to you up at the podium itself.